Hi everyone! Thank you for joining us today for the Canadian Student Relief Charity's Baking Masterclass with Beccy Stable, a 2018 MasterChef champion. Before jumping into baking, I would like to introduce CSR for those who have only recently heard of us. As a student charity, our mission is to support students in every aspect of the student life, whether that be through workshops and events, or even assisting those in need of financial support. To learn more, you can go to our website or connect with us over social media through Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn in order to be notified of our future events and opportunities to get involved. Now I'll hand it over to Beccy to kickstart our workshop. Beccy will be making an almond jam cake that's perfect for the upcoming Canada Day festivity. This cake is easy to make for beginners and tasty for any gathering.
Hi everyone! So today we are making a almond sponge cake. It's a really simple and basic recipe. So we have self-raising flour. So self-raising flour is so much easier to use because the baking powder is already in it, so the raising agent and everything. So just one less ingredient to buy basically. And then we have almond flour. The best place to get this is probably Costco or even Bulk Barn is the cheapest. It just gives the cake a bit of a nicer flavor, more interesting. Then just basic white sugar, butter or margarine. You can use up to you, totally. And then just 2 eggs. And then I like to use seedless raspberry jam. And then, yeah, just give it a quick little stir while melting. So that's literally all the ingredients. And the only kind of special ingredient would be almond extract, which you can get at any grocery store. It just gives a really nice flavor and just like amps up the almondiness. It just makes it a little bit nicer, you know, just a little thing. So to get this started, you have to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and just let that go for a little bit. And then we need to prep our cake tin. So this is just a basic 9-inch cake tin. It is non-stick, but you've probably seen like when cakes always stick to the pan and it's just annoying to get out. So just a little reinforce that. Just get a little bit of butter, or if you have cooking spray, that's great. I just have a little bit of butter that's at room temperature. And then this little guy, and then just paint the inside. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just make sure you get like right in the edge kind of there. So just do the bottom and the sides. So just take a sheet of baking paper that's bigger than your cake tin. So we're just gonna fold it in half. And then half again. There's a name for this technique, but I don't know it. It's just some kids' craft stuff. So you have a littler square, and then with this square you want to fold it this way, so you have like a point. Like you're making snowflakes. Remember when you used to do them like elementary school? And then just fold it again. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not gonna ruin your cake. So then we have this shape. I like to just tip the cake tin over, grab some scissors, and then just put your point to the center of your cake tin, and then just cut like that. And when you open this up, a perfect little circle. And just stick this in the bottom of your cake tin, and then that just like really makes sure that it's not gonna stick. And then I just like to take a little bit more butter and just kind of, it presses it in so you don't get any bubbles on the bottom, so you have a flat surface on the bottom, which is nice. So yeah, whenever you're baking, always make sure your oven's on, ready to go, and always prep your tin beforehand. Just makes your life so much easier. And then for the cake, so it is in grams because grams in baking is just so much easier. It's so much cleaner. You can get scales at Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, literally anywhere. You don't have to get the super expensive fancy kind. It just makes your cakes more accurate, and you're gonna get more consistent quality, and just, it's gonna work out every time instead of measuring your cups. We're not on the cup train. So I've actually pre-measured the butter because it's just butter is the worst thing to measure. It's so annoying because you have to like take a little bit off and take a little bit back. It's just easier this way. So this is 140 grams of butter. Room temperature, it's basically nearly melting because of the heat. Just slap it in there. And then put your bowl on the scale, and then we need to zero it out or to tare it. There usually is on scales, it's either a little T or it says tare. So just press that and make sure your scales go back to 0. And then regular old sugar that you get, and then it's 140 grams of sugar, so equal amounts of butter and sugar. Oh, perfect. So this is the creaming method with cakes. You just beat together the butter and sugar until it's light and fluffy, basically. You can do this in a stand mixer if you have it. I'm doing it by hand because you can, and it's easier because not everyone has like a $5 stand mixer. So yeah, just with a wooden spoon.
How did you discover the recipe? The almond jam cake is perfect for any occasion. So how do you discover it?
It's actually just, so the way I learned how to make cakes is you weigh out your eggs, and then whatever the measurement of the eggs is the rest of your ingredients, if that makes sense. And that always forms the perfect sponge. Like that's how we do it in the UK. It's just simple and easy cake. It's the kind of cakes that I grew up eating. So yeah, it's just a basic recipe in the UK, basically, pretty much. So we have, this is creamed. It kind of goes paler, fluffy. Don't have your butter melted, have it room temperature. So just tear the scale up again. Our almond flour. So the texture of this is, it's not as smooth as flour. It is a little bit grainy, which is nice in a cake because then it gives a little more texture, makes it more interesting. So then just 140 grams. See how it's easier to just measure all things in one bowl instead of having like, saves on dishes too. Here's the almond flour, and then just zero out the scale again, and then self-raising flour, 140 grams again.
And when did you start cooking? Ever since you were young, or was it something you kind of adapted into?
Yeah, I kind of started when I started baking when I was in like high school, and then I just found it really interesting, and I just always wanted to learn more techniques. I just always wanted to learn more and more about it. I was addicted to it. So it just kind of evolved from just simply baking in high school.
Oh wow. And like, why did you join the MasterChef? It's such a big competition.
It was kind of random that I did that. It's not like a normal thing to do if you look at it. But yeah, I really liked the MasterChef Australia. Like that one was really inspiring, and I was like, oh my god, that looks like so much fun. Why not just apply? Like even if I don't get in, just apply. Like least I can do.
How did you feel when you got accepted into it?
It was crazy getting like the call back from MasterChef, because like definitely did not expect it. I was like, why would they want me? Like I'm kind of boring. Like I don't have this big personality, you know? So it was a bit of a shock, but like it all happened so fast, you just get caught up in it, and it kind of makes things easier when things happen quickly, you know? So in here we have the flour and the almond flour. You can take it off the scale now. And just 2 eggs. I like to crack them on the countertop rather than the bowl, because if you do it on the bowl, there's more likely to break the yolk if you don't want to do that. And then also, I feel like there's a higher chance of getting the shell into the cake mixture. It's just a little bit safer to do it on like a flat surface. So just 2 eggs go in. And then our almond extract. I never measure like these little things like vanilla, almond extract. I would just pour it in the cap and hope for the best. Like, That's pretty much it. Whenever I'm measuring vanilla, like, you're wasting a teaspoon, you're gonna have to wash it up. Just use the cap. It's basically a teaspoon or a tablespoon. You know, it's easy. So now everything's in the bowl. You literally just mix everything together. There's no need to cream the eggs into it because it will turn out fine. It's basic cake anatomy. So yeah, just give it a nice stir. Make sure you're scraping the sides and really get down to the bottom of the bowl. Yeah, just try and use the bowl to like your advantage.
There's a family gathering. Who makes up all the dessert?
At Christmas, my delegated job is desserts. I'm not allowed to help with the decorations. I'm only allowed to do the dessert. Yeah, my sister always takes over on that, which I want to do, but it's fine. Yeah, I always come up with pretty random things. I always try to keep it on theme. One year I made a Charlotte Royale. I was like 16. I was like, I've seen this on Bake Off. I can do it, no problem. And it turned out pretty good actually. And then one year I made Santa hats. Like I just got a dome mold, made it red like a cranberry mousse, like the little white bubble thing on top. And then I did a big little Santa hat. It was super cute.
That sounds so good.
So this is our cake batter. If you can see that, it's pretty stiff, but everything, you can see it's combined. You don't want to overmix it because overmixing forms more gluten and that will make a tighter crumb texture, which you don't want. Take your spoon and cut it in half. Does that make sense? Then somewhat even. And then take one half and just tip it into your cake tin. Get a little spatula. Make things easier. And then just take a spatula or just the back of a spoon, whatever you have that's make it easy, and just spread it evenly into the bottom of the cake tin. Make sure you get towards all the edges. This doesn't have to be a perfectly flat surface. It's totally fine if it's a bit wonky. Okay, so this is half the cake mixture just in the bottom there. So this is about a half a cup. I never really measure this, just kind of like add as you go. That's just my style of baking. You can totally measure if you want. Yeah, just pour this in the middle or whatever. And then just using the same spoon, spread it on top of the cake, but you want to leave a gap around the edges, so then it kind of doesn't bleed into the sides, and then it can stick to the pan and kind of full burn. So yeah, just roughly spread it. So you want to leave like about that much of a border. Yeah, and then the other half. You can, if you do have, if you have piping bags or even just a Ziploc bag, you could just put the mixture into that and pipe it on, but not everyone has that. It's a waste of plastic, honestly. So just get the other half of your cake batter and just make dollops all over the top. Kind of like spread them out because it will make it easier in the long run to spread out more dollops into each other than it is to spread one dollop all over. I don't know if that makes sense. Makes sense when you're doing it. And then I actually have an offset spatula here. This is just a little one, and this is my favorite kitchen tool. It's so versatile. I have used it so much. I probably shouldn't, but like, it's great. You can use it to cut things, spread things, flip. It's one of my favorites. So yeah, just make sure you're getting all the cake batter because we don't like waste. And then, yeah, just literally spread it around. These you can also find anywhere nowadays. You can find them in Walmart, Superstore, online, anywhere. So yeah, just carefully don't apply too much pressure because otherwise you will press the jam out, which you don't want to do. So again, just use the cake tin to your advantage. So just spinning it and just getting all the way to the edges. And then for this one, we do want to create a smooth top just for aesthetic purposes. You can also make, like, if you have muffin tins, just get a little cookie scooper spoon and scoop a little bit of cake mixture into the bottom of each muffin tin, just a little spoon of jam and then another layer on top. You don't have to spread them out, they'll spread out in the oven nicely, and then bake them for like 15-20 minutes, and that's just an alternative way if you don't want like a big cake. It's an easy way to half the recipe as well. So yeah, we have somewhat of an even surface. It will even out in the oven, but that's basically what it looks like. If you want to be fancy, you can put slivered almonds or sliced almonds on top, but we're not, because we're going to put cream and fruit and stuff on top for kind of the thing. So this bakes at 350 for about, check it after 20, and then adjust accordingly. Like you can stick a toothpick or a knife in it, and if it comes out clean, then it's done. Or you can kind of tell if it's still jiggly, obviously it needs longer. And if the top is evenly golden brown, then that's a good indicator that it's done too. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven for 20 minutes and then check it after that time.
Well, the bakes, I just wanted to ask you, so as you know, CSR Charity is focused on helping students through every aspect of their academic life. What advice would you give to them?
So I don't really publicly speak about this, but I do actually have a struggle with mental health. I have been since I was around 14. Had no idea when I was that age. It's only in these past couple of years that I've actually realized, like, oh, it's not normal. But I'm also, right now, I'm actively trying to change it. Like, I don't want to feel that way anymore. So I'm finally ready to take the steps towards healing myself. And I think it's just really important to do, because it's not normal to not be okay, you know? Like if you break your leg, you go to the hospital. If you're feeling depressed or anxious, then what are you supposed to do? Like, you know, it's so difficult to also find help, because like therapy, oh yeah, great, go to therapy, that's so expensive. And then it's like, oh yeah, go get help, like where? Oh yeah, go on medication, like great, I just want to be on medication for the rest of my life. Like, you know, there's just not that much. People will be like, oh yeah, mental health is so great, we need to talk about it. But like, no one actually talks about it. So I think it's so hard.
Yeah, no, that's so true. So many people do not talk about mental health at all. And even though people post about it on Instagrams or social media pages, like no one really helps in like solving these issues. I know it's a really big issue, especially right now, like with the pandemic. So many people are facing it. It's not a question. Like I know everyone has like different coping mechanism. What's yours?
I try and do lots of little things, and I'm also trying to find out what like triggers are for me too. So I do enjoy running and like focusing on music, because then it just like completely relaxes my mind, I find. And I've just started meditating, and that really helps. Just like body scanning and breath work, because I do suffer with anxiety, and like it got really bad over Christmas and stuff, and like I couldn't even go into a store without having a panic attack. So it's like meditating just helps with just taking a step back when I do feel like that, and focusing on my breathing, like those techniques. And I'm actually really fortunate to have my mom. She helps me, and we both actively try to have healthy communication with each other, to help each other, and like so that really helps having my mom, because I can talk to her and be like, hey, I'm bringing it down today, and she's like, that's okay, you know, we don't have to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, we can. Totally your decision. So for me, those are just like little things that do help.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm so happy you have like a healthy communication with someone. That's something that's very needed for a lot of people. But yeah.
It makes all the difference. Okay, so the cake is baked for, I checked it after 20 minutes and then baked it for another 10-15. So you can see how it's like golden on the top and then the edges just a little bit darker. That's what you want. And to test to see if it was done, I just stuck a knife in the middle of it and the knife came out clean, like there was no batter on it. So that's how I know it was done. And then because we greased the tin really good, it just pops out like that. If you want to be safe about it, you can just run a knife along the edges and then it will just a little bit safer, you know? Give her a nice little plate. And then this is just whipped cream because it's summer and whipped cream is nice in the summer. So I just whipped it using a whisk until I got like a medium kind of peak. So it holds its shape, but it's still like, you know, it's like a slow kind of texture. I don't know if that makes sense, but so yeah, I was just gonna spoon this over the top. You don't want to over whip cream because it can curdle and you don't want that. Whipping cream is anything above 30%. So when you're in the grocery store and like milk is 2% usually or 1%, this is 30%, so that means that there's a lot of fat in it and it will whip up nicely. So just use a large spoon or a offset spatula, whatever easiest for you, and just make a nice little swirlies on the top. Again, use the plate to your advantage. Just whatever you think looks nice on top. And because it's summer, I just wanted to do some fresh fruit. We actually still have some rhubarb in the stores. So this is just rhubarb that I peeled, and then I put it in a sugar syrup. So 100 grams of sugar with 100 grams of water. Bring that to a boil with just like a touch of red food coloring, and then you just place them in there for like literally 10-20 seconds. Give a little stir. Bake them in the oven at 250 until half an hour, 40 minutes, until they dry out. Get a wooden spoon and then wrap it around, and then you get this kind of thing. And they're really pretty. It was just, we had some rhubarb in the fridge, so may as well use it. And then I've just got some strawberries, cherries, and raspberries, because that's what's in season right now. It's nice cherries are coming into season too. So just like, I got some halves or some quarters of the strawberries just to like mix it up a little bit. Make it a little more fun and interesting. And yeah, just do it however makes you happy. It's your cake. I'm just gonna dollop them around the outside. You could also get some extra jam and just bring that in. Use a cutting board. Don't cut into your fingers. But I want to make these just a little bit slimmer.
What's your favorite food for toppings?
For toppings on like cakes?
Yeah.
See, I'm not a big buttercream person. Like, it's just too sweet for me. But I love lemon curd on cakes.
Oh,
like that's just straight lemon curd. It's great.
That's so good.
Yeah, get a cutting board, guys. Don't do this. It's dangerous. And then yeah, just get your cherries. I just halved these and scooped out the pit. If you have a cherry pitter, that's great. That's really great. It's so much easier. I don't know, I think a half raspberry looks really pretty. I don't know if that's weird, but they are really pretty. And then we've got our rhubarb swells, and then just sit them on top. That's literally it. I don't know if you can see that. Oh. This is the finished thing. that's basically it. You can decorate it however you want. You can not even decorate it at all. It's your choice. It's your cake. You know, we're just doing this to be fancy. And then also, you can see where the jam kind of like spilled out, but because we didn't overbake the cake, it didn't burn. So it's gonna give like, I don't know, just like a nice chewy texture in your mouth, which I really enjoy. It's like only on some parts, other parts are covered. And then we're ready to cut. So yeah, there's like a layer of jam running through, you can kind of see, but the texture isn't dense at all. It's nice and light and not heavy, which is what I really like about it. I make this cake a lot. It's like a sweet bake recipe. But yeah, the crumb is really nice on it. If you watch Bake Off, it's like a Paul Hollywood thing, it's like all the crumb. But yeah, it's just a nice little almond cake, super easy to make, no fancy equipment. It's simple.
That looks absolutely delicious. It looks so nice and fluffy too.
I like the surprise too, like when you make it for people and they're like, how did you get the jam in here? Like you didn't cut it. And like it actually like baffles people. I'm like, guys, you're dumb. Like it's not that difficult to figure out.
Yeah, I'm definitely making this for Canada Day. It's a perfect treat. It's like the little surprise in the middle with the jam. Absolutely amazing.
Jams are great in cakes. For more of my recipes or little creations that I make, you can find me over on Instagram at Beccy Staples or at my dessert website called dessertclub.ca.
Thank you to everyone for joining our CSR Baking Masterclass. We hope that you enjoyed learning a new recipe and look forward to seeing you in our future events and workshops, which you can be notified of through our social media and website. Finally, we'd like to extend a big thank you to Beccy for hosting this amazing baking video and helping in providing students with a wide range of resources. Take care and have a great day.